Hello and welcome back to Grim Survival, all of my fellow gremlins. I hope everyone is having a very good week so far. Let me see if I can get my days correct now. I'll just look to see. Alright, this video is going up on Wednesday, so it's going to be hump day right now. So yeah, alright, yeah. My days are just blurring together with all the things I have going on, especially with this bug out network, setting up web pages, nonprofit organizations, trying to set up a hierarchy which consists of several committees and groups, and basically a voting system, a subscription system, a monetary bunch of crap. I need a treasurer. I do. That would be a great benefit to the group, having somebody to run the treasury. Yeah, we need volunteers. But anyway, that's not this video. This video, we're going to talk about prepping. Yeah, you know, we do that here every now and then. I have videos in a playlist called Food Preps where we do, I think I have one canning video up. We need to get more of those up, obviously. I have several videos up of how I store certain foods like rice, beans, flour. I'll get a video up soon of some sugar, or not sugar, salt. Yeah, salt that I have in buckets and how I stored that. Soon, I won't, maybe I'll store some more salt, so just show you how I do it, but we'll see. I do have some in a bucket, 5-gallon buckets. And so anyway, I'm going to talk about prepping. I'm going to go over 3 essential things that everybody probably preps already. If not, you should be. You should be. Yeah, not everybody's going to agree with the first one, but I'm going to go over it anyway, just because. And I just want to thank everybody of the Gremlin Pack. Thank you for all of your support, and everybody on Patreon. Thank you also for all of your support. I really do appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome, and girls. You guys and gals, girls, women, females, whatever. Y'all are awesome. That's it. I want to give a shout out to Arkansas Living, just because. I just do. That's the only reason. I just want to give a shout out to Arkansas Living. And yeah, it's Livin. When you type in Arkansas Living in YouTube, you get the wrong channel. When you type in Arkansas Living, then you get the right channel. Alright. Anyway, I'm not going to throw up the sheet I've been working on because it's not complete, and it's basically a bunch of math equations, so it's just not going to be good for the video. So I'm just going to go over some of the math equations and give you the basics. So if anybody is interested in this, you can replay the video, write it down, or get your notepads out now, or whatever you store information on. If you have brought a pen and a pencil, you are already ahead of the game. I got one around here somewhere. I know it's on this. Oh, there it is. There's too much stuff on my desk. There, my pen. I have a notebook too, but I'm not using it because I have a computer screen right there. Anyway, and I already have this information. So, the first thing I recommend storing. Okay, so I'm going to have food on here. I am. But the first thing I recommend storing is coffee. So how do you know how much coffee to store in a single year? That's a really tough question, especially for me, because I don't agree with some of these numbers, probably because I put too much coffee grounds in my French press when I'm brewing it, because I don't really measure it. I just eyeball it and hope for the best. I make some really strong coffee sometimes when I'm not paying attention. Alright, so according to the directions, when you are brewing coffee, it should be about 2 tablespoons or 1 scoop, and this equals about 3/4 of 1 cup of coffee beans if you are doing whole bean coffee. I do recommend storing whole bean coffee over ground coffee for various reasons. Ground coffee has a tendency to get stale and go bad a lot faster, while whole bean coffee stays fresh if you vacuum seal it, or if yeah, it's sitting here somewhere. I know I have a vacuum sealed bag of coffee on this desk. Maybe I threw it under the desk and kicked it again. I don't know. It's around here somewhere. Anyway, you've seen it. I have, oh, there it is. I found it. Anyway, whole bean coffee, when you vacuum seal it, it locks in the oils that are inside of the coffee beans, and it keeps the coffee fresh. It locks in the oils. There's oils in coffee beans. Dried or ground coffee is already ground, and some of the oil content is lost prior to you getting it. Even if you get it in a vacuum sealed container, it happens. And when you open it, it has a high tendency to dry out and go stale a lot faster. So coffee beans are always going to be fresher coffee. Always going to be fresher coffee. So I did see a thing on Amazon. It was a year supply of coffee. I've never tested the brand whatsoever. I'm going to drop that link in the description. If anybody is brave enough, let me know how it tastes, and then I might pick it up, because I'm going to, yeah, we're going to be like the government and use you as a guinea pig for that one. Just saying. Anyway, so 2 tablespoons or 3/4 of 1 cup of beans for coffee beans for 1 cup of coffee. That being said, 50 cups of coffee, 50 cups of coffee at about 1 cup per day times 365 days is about 8 pounds of coffee. 8 pounds of coffee beans at 1 cup a day should last you 1 year, a total of 365 days. Who drinks 1 cup of coffee a day? Who are these people? Because I need to have a chat with them, because I think they're doing something incorrectly, personally. But in an SHTF situation, you are going to want to ration your supplies. So 1 cup of coffee per day is maybe all that you can afford before you run out of your coffee, because coffee is going to be hard to come by in a grid down or SHTF situation, because the coffee, while you can grow it in certain parts of the United States, most people don't know how to grow coffee and then roast coffee beans and then brew coffee beans. I mean, most people don't have those skills, and there's certain areas of the country where coffee won't grow. So if you want information on how to grow coffee, you Google it, because this isn't that video. I've never grown coffee, and I have no experience whatsoever with growing coffee. I have stored coffee, and I do drink coffee. Yeah, I have coffee cups sitting all around me. None of them are, well, one of them is dirty. The rest of them are clean. I just have them sitting here because, yeah, I'm doing a coffee cup challenge soon with John from Prepper Nation, so I'm consolidating my assets. Anyway, so as I was saying, 50 cups at 1 cup per day should last you 365 days, and that is 8 pounds of coffee if you are brewing it correctly according to their instructions, which says about 3/4 of a cup of beans. And I'm going to do this all in coffee beans, because ground coffee, I prefer coffee beans personally. Ground coffee is pretty good when you're in a hurry, but like I said, it goes stale a lot faster, so I have to drink it faster. So yeah, so anyway, 2 cups a day, that is going to be 730 cups of coffee in 1 year. 730 cups. That's roughly going to be 16 pounds of raw coffee beans. From there, if you are just going to increase it, you can do the math on that. 50 cups equals about 8 pounds for a year. So do the math on that. That's 1 cup of coffee per day. Okay, so we've covered coffee. Number 2 thing that you may want information on. Now, I recommend you do store some of this, but it's not as necessary as all the crazy people make you think it is when they're buying it all out of supplies, or buying all the supplies and running stores out of stock. So I'm going to talk about toilet paper. Toilet paper. And yes, I'm going to get to food before this is over, but toilet paper. So here's a few scenarios. 4 people storing for 4 months would be 4 rolls times 16 weeks, which equals 64 rolls of toilet paper at a minimum for 4 people storing for a full year. So 4 people at very minimum should be storing 64 rolls of toilet paper. That's not that much, really. When you look at the grand scheme of things, that's not that much. And obviously this number is going to vary depending on the type of toilet paper and how much your kids use. Mine were like pulling the roll until they got a wad the size of their head, and then they use it once, and then they clog the toilet. Anyway, yeah. So, where was I? Yeah. So, a full year, yeah, blah, 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 blah. I wrote this down. 64 rolls of toilet paper at a minimum. 4 people storing a full year would be 4 times 52, 208 rolls. I'm wrong. So, I didn't even finish my math. So, yeah, 64 rolls of toilet paper would be for 4 months. So, you would need 208 rolls of toilet paper for 4 people at a bare minimum for 1 full year. So, that's 208 rolls. It's a little more than what I previously said. Sorry, my brain will catch back up to my mouth here in a little bit. But yeah, 208 rolls of toilet paper for 4 people for a full year. That is minimum. So if you do it daily, 3 days equals 3 rolls. Multiply by 2.5 to get the week's worth of TP for your household, plus a little bit more for padding. Need that padding. And that home goes through 7.5 rolls of TP per week. Then you just simply multiply the number of weeks you have on hand. So 7.5 rolls times 4 weeks of storage would be 30 rolls of TP. 7.5 rolls times 52 weeks, a full year of storage, would be 390 rolls of toilet paper. So, you know, 200 to 400 rolls of toilet paper is probably good enough for a whole year's supply for most households. Most households. Just saying, most households, not every household, because like I said, the kids, and they like to, and if you have cats, the cats will sometimes get up there and just destroy the toilet paper because they think it's fun, I guess. In SHTF, cats are considered livestock. Just keep that in mind. I don't eat cat, it's not kosher. But anyway. How many times can I say anyway in one video? Somebody count. Just because I'll say it a lot more now because I said that. So moving on to food. Food is a little more complicated. I'm going to cover 2 food items in this video. Rice and beans. Rice and beans. Now obviously the bean types vary and the numbers can be slightly different depending on the beans that you're storing. The numbers I'm going off of are basic pinto beans. So keep that in mind. Yeah, keep that in mind. Alright, so I'm also going to talk a little bit about wheat because it really does it holds about the same amount, because wheat berries is what you should be storing, and those are obviously wheat before it's processed into flour. Wheat berries is what you should be storing because it'll last a lot longer. Now I do have a couple of videos up of me storing white flour, and I have just a couple of buckets of white flour, and really I did it to see how long it will keep. I really did. And white flour is obviously good for making breads and things like this, and cakes and cupcakes, and I'm hungry. Anyway, a cake sounds good right about now. Now I suddenly want a cupcake. I do. I don't need it. But anyway, rice, wheat, and beans, they're all basic, roughly about the same weight and size. So we'll get into that. We will. I got math. I used a calculator. So I'm going to average this out at 3,200 calories per day, and that's going to be the average military-aged male needs to eat per day. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, I'm not a military-aged male. Females, small children, it's going to be different. It is going to be different, but if you store your food based on that one number of a military-aged male, and you don't consume that much because you are not a military-aged male, then you will have a surplus. And a surplus is good, so your food will last a little bit longer than you initially predicted it would. That's a good thing. So, also, if you are storing food and you're not a military-aged male, you may come across a military-aged male during SHTF, and you may need this person's help with whatever it is, whatever the situation may be. You may, want to invite these people or this person to help with your security or whatever. So it's good to have on hand extra. And if, like I said, if you're not a military-aged male and you're still storing 3,200 calories per day, then you have a surplus. So you can, allocate that to unknown situations that tend to happen in pretty much all aspects of life. Unknown situations in SHTF are definitely going to occur. Unknown situations being, extra people joining you to benefit your family, your group, or you in general. So yeah, you got to plan for unpredicted scenarios. You can't plan for everything. You just can't. So where was I? Rice, wheat, and beans. 3,200 calories per day. So one person at 3,200 calories per day needs about 750 pounds for one full year. And that 750 pounds is going to be rice, wheat, and beans. This number averages to about 750 pounds per all three of those different dried goods: rice, wheat, and beans. 750 pounds for one person for 1 year. One person 1 year at 3,200 calories per day. And you got to remember that 3,200 calories. Now, I know government will say about 2,000 calories per day, but you also got to think about the kind of work you're going to be doing in an SHTF situation. It's not just going to be sitting here staring at your phone talking to, yourself and recording it for YouTube. It's not going to be sitting there doing what most people do and just looking at Facebook and playing games. You're going to have to do stuff. You're going to have to get up and move around, secure your location, secure your home, scout your area. You may have to go and collect water and bring it back, and water is heavy. This is going to burn a lot of calories, so keep that in mind also for that 3,200 mark. Try to hit the 3,200 mark is my biggest suggestion. So like I was saying, 750 pounds per one person per year of rice, wheat, and beans. For two people, that's obviously going to be 1,500 pounds per year. So yeah, that's a lot of food. Do the math from there. One person, two person, you can just keep going up from there until you reach however many people you have in your household, even if it's a toddler, even if it's an elderly person. 3,200 calories, 750 pounds per person per year. Can't say that enough. I probably can't say that enough, but I'm going to say it probably one more time at least. All right, so rice in a 5-gallon bucket roughly holds 36 pounds. Beans in a 5-gallon bucket and wheat berries in a 5-gallon bucket roughly hold 35 pounds. So I'm averaging this out by poundage for 35 pounds per bucket. So if you need 750 pounds of rice, wheat, and beans to last one person 1 year, you need 22 5-gallon buckets of each item. So 22 buckets of rice, 22 of wheat, 22 of beans. 22 buckets is going to be 1 year supply for one person. That's a lot of buckets. Obviously, 2 buckets or 2 people, you're going to need 44, and you can do the math and keep going up and up and up until you break your floor and cut out your ceiling. That being said, 22 buckets is going to be a lot of storage space. I'm running out of storage space. I am. I'm, trying to figure out where to stock more stuff. I really am trying to figure it out. It's not the easiest task. It really isn't. So, I don't know, maybe consolidate all the children to one room and just fill one room with buckets. Maybe we'll have to consider that, because maybe I've already got buckets in all the kids' rooms. So yeah, anyway, 22 buckets. That's a lot of food. It really is. You're going to have to really think about where you're going to store food when you start getting up to 22 buckets for 1 year supply, 22 buckets for a second year supply, or just, 22 of rice, wheat, and beans. And these are the 3 primary things I recommend storing is rice, wheat, and beans. You can survive off of those three items. Rice has plenty of starch and other contents that you need. Beans has protein and other contents and vitamins that you need. And wheat is your filler for pretty much everything to keep you feeling full, but also has certain vitamins and contents you need. And you can look up all the nutrient facts of these things on your own. It's definitely something I recommend, so you can see what your body is taking in. Another thing I recommend, and I haven't put it on here how much you need, you're going to have to do that by yourself, and how many of these are in a bottle. But these are going to be multivitamins. This is the one of them that I have currently. This is GNC Mega Men. There's 90 capsules in here, 45-day supply. So obviously I would need several of these bottles to make a year supply. But store vitamins, because you're going to be having a nutrient deficiency if you're only eating rice, wheat, and beans. If that's all you're eating, you're going to need some extra vitamins to keep your brain sharp, to keep your body working. It's just going to be needed. So I highly recommend storing vitamins. A lot of people say, oh, I'm just going to go hunt and get my meat. No, you're not. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to be very blunt and bold about it. No, you absolutely are not going to go hunt and trap when SHTF happens, and you think you're going to be the great white hunter out in the forest taking all the deer and bringing food back like a caveman. It's not going to happen. You're living in a fantasy world. Get it out of your brain, because it doesn't work that way. Just going back to the Great Depression alone, they hunted white-tailed deer, rabbit, squirrel, almost to complete extinction in the United States. Complete extinction. And there were a lot less people during the Great Depression than what there are right now in the United States. I'm thinking, what are we at, 400 million or something like that? Every single person that has 2 brain cells knocking around in their head and has, you know, a stick with a pointy end thinks they're going to go out and hunt rabbit, squirrels, and deer. And it's just not going to work that way. Sure, you might get a deer in the early stages of SHTF. You might. Okay, and a deer, how long is that going to last you in food supply? How many people do you have in your house, and how big is that deer? How many pounds is it? I mean, it's not going to last you that long on the grand scheme of things. It's just not. So you're not going to supplement all of your food by hunting. It's not going to happen. Just get used to the fact right now. Not only the fact that it's not going to happen, ammunition is completely unreliable if you're trying to find and stockpile enough, and you may have a lot of it, but it's just not going to happen. Eventually, even if you have a very secluded area, you will hunt out the area. You will completely consume all the resources in the area, because that's what humans do. They move to an area, they consume all the resources, and then they move on to the next area. And yeah, well, currently in current time periods, they just build cities there, and then they ship in all the resources from other areas that they are depleting. That's what we do as a race. That's what we have done for a very long time now, ever since the industrial age, when people lost the ability to produce their own food, grow their own gardens, raise their own livestock. Now, yeah, people who raise livestock and have gardens are one step ahead of the game, but eventually, you're going to see problems with that, because they already try to put regulations on that, but that's a completely different video. I will get into another video probably with one of the spreadsheet type things up on the screen of how much water we should be storing, but that'll be a different video. Just before I go, ammunition. How much ammunition should you be storing per caliber, per firearm that you have? This is going to be the last topic of this video. How much ammunition per caliber, per firearm? And there is a simple answer for that. All of it. Yeah, all of it. If you can find it, get it all, because that's how much you're going to need. All of it. Just, there's no other math that needs to be done on that topic. Just get it all and store all of it. Just, you know, if you have a 9mm and you can find 9mm, store all of it. Just go get it all. I highly recommend getting, you know, knowledge on how to create your own powder primers, how to mold lead into what you need, save your casings, and you can reuse the casings when you have the ability to make your own primers, load your own powder. Yeah, it's going to be a dirty shot if you know how to make black powder. It is. But cleaning kits. Last recommendation I have are seeds. Seeds. Even if you don't have a garden, prep seeds. Heirloom seeds are what you need to prep. Do not use the packets of Walmart seeds that are hybrid seeds. Don't use them. They will not produce fruit the second year. They will produce fruit, really nice, pretty, big old, weird fruit or vegetables the very first year. That's what hybrid seeds do. But when you take the fruit or vegetable off the plant, and you dry out the seeds and you prep them to plant them next year, the plants the next year, most likely 99% of the time, will not produce fruit or vegetables. It won't do it, because the fact that it's a hybrid plant. Look up a lot of information on that. Don't take my word for it. Don't question everything, especially me. Don't take my word for it. Do your research on this. I have done my research, and my research tells me that the only way I can save seeds from plants is if the seeds are coming from heirloom plants. So heirloom tomatoes, heirloom cucumbers, things like this. Then you can store the seeds, reuse those seeds, and it will produce more fruit or vegetables the following year. And you will be able to then store those seeds and reuse those seeds, and so on and so forth, for as many years as you can store seeds and as the sun shines. And yeah. Discord's being weird. Alright, this has been James with Grim Survival. I want to thank the Premier Crowd for joining me over here. I really do appreciate it. It was a lot of fun with the thing they were doing last night with the Prepper Clubbing, where Arkansas Living was on all the channels. I got to get Arkansas Living over here. We got to have a hat challenge with me in Arkansas. We'll just see whose hat's better. We'll take a poll. I think mine's better personally. I've seen his hat. It's like that big. Maybe it's that big. I don't know. It's at least this big. It's huge. It's a huge hat. But he wears it well, doesn't he? He does. I'm going to attempt to make a emoji for the Gremlin pack. Anybody you see in green is a part of the Gremlin pack. The emoji I'm going to attempt to make is Gizmo in a flannel shirt. I'm going to attempt it. I'm not guaranteeing it's going to work out right, but I'm going to attempt it. Alright, this has been James with Grim for Survival. I'm shutting up now. I hope everyone has a very blessed day. Shalom.